Good evening, Gun Nuts. I'm Nathan. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. I hope you had a terrific Thanksgiving. Glad to have you on board here. We've got Jamie, JH586, and Chico Wise with us. We're going to have Kyle Lusk hopefully here soon, and who knows who else is going to show up. I appreciate everybody coming out. I know that, like I said, it is the day after Thanksgiving, so I don't expect to have a full house or anything, but I am glad that you guys came out and wanting to talk and chat. So you guys want to say hey? Go ahead and take it around the very short room right now.
Sure. Hey, guys. Thanks for being here. I hope, like Nathan said, I hope everyone's had a great Thanksgiving, spending time with your family and whatnot. So, but thanks for being here with us Friday night. I'm sure we can get into some interesting topics like we always do. So thanks for being here.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Day late. We got quite a few already out there. It's like when Nathan threw the switch, we had 6 more jump on. We had 10 waiting. Guys, again, I thank y'all for coming by, and I hope you found plenty to be thankful for yesterday, and not just yesterday, but every day. And that's how we should live our lives. And I've got so much to be thankful for. We're going through some tough times in my family right now, but it's still found a lot to be thankful for. We had very nice meal with a lot of family over, and hope all y'all did as well. And I see Tread, Curtis, Big Al, Vash Matrix, Bigger, Mr. Pollard. Me and him's been texting through Slack today, but we're missing Kyle, but I believe he'll be here pretty soon. I sent him a text, so we're hoping he'll pop in here any minute. And they're already asking me, guys, what the topic is, and I told them maybe turkey leftovers. That's probably the last thing y'all want to talk about. I know he's not here yet, but I gotta. I hope he shows up. Chico OP sent us a message that he hated that his Saints whooped up on our Dirty Birds so bad last night, and it really wasn't as bad as I was expecting, but it was still pretty bad.
It was.
So I'm hoping he'll be at least in the chat room here in a little while. Big Al saying single stage presses for long range. I think you just about got to do that, or at least a turret, right?
I don't know. I mean, that's all a matter of opinion. I mean, I've seen some of these guys just using some of the cheaper Lee turret press and turning out great ammo. I don't know how much the press really has to do with it. Like, you got these guys that are, using Dillons, they're progressive, or, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I've always maintained that was true, Jamie. I've always maintained that an O press was going to give you the least amount of run out, but that might be BS. I don't know.
Those Forester coaxes look very intriguing to me. The way that die floats up there, and it kind of self-centers every time. And I was on another live chat the other night, and I think it was High Boy. I think you were on there too, Nathan. And somebody was asking about I forgot who it was, but no, it was Bacon's chat. And Eagle Eye was asking one of the guys about what he uses for turning his necks and centricity.
There's a couple tools to do neck turning in there.
I don't know. I've not been down that rabbit hole that far yet. So I've got pooches in here now, thanks to my wife opening the door. And if y'all want to topic, and we'll get back to that, but I probably committed one of the 7 deadly sins. Y'all have to tell me if if I did something unforgivable, but we have always had a live tree ever since I was a little bitty boy. And we went to Lowe's the other day and I bought a artificial. It was really nice. I paid like $100 for that thing, but I'll never have to sweep up needles again. And say what you want to, but I'm getting so old and fat, it's kind of hard to bend over and work the broom and the dustpan at the same time.
Well, Jamie, I'm on the other side of that fence. I have never had a live tree in my life. My dad was allergic to them, so to speak, or at least he said he was. I learned as I got older that my dad was allergic or incapable of doing certain things just out of he didn't want to do it. So I don't know. I've never had a live tree. I've always had artificials, and I still have to sweep up needles. So
Oh well, crush my thoughts and my dreams.
they shed not nearly as bad, but they shed. And if you've got an animal, like you've got a whole house full of puppers, keeping them out from underneath of it and stuff, you're gonna have needles around. But
Yeah.
a lot of fire hazard. And here's what gets me: when you get a live tree out of a farm, I don't want to bring all that wildlife into my house. I have a hard enough time keeping spiders out of here. Nah, that's all right. I don't need that.
I've done both of them, but I primarily it's gonna be an artificial tree. But a couple years ago, I got a live tree. And I think the year before that, I got a live tree because I was like, that's a lot of work though. Trimming the tree, taking it upstairs, or to your living quarters where it's gonna be displayed. But it's something about the smell. You know what I mean? A lot of people like that part of it, and I liked it, but when it was time to take it down, I was like, man, I got all these needles I got to get up. So I understand both parts of it, but I'm not even putting up I don't think my son wants a tree, but I got to get up in the attic and get it, and I might just go buy a small one.
No, come on now. Only comes once a year.
Yeah, I know. But that big tree is it's in the attic, man. I may go buy a medium size because it's like 8 foot tall.
I know. I just drug mine out today. I drug mine and all my accoutrements and lights and yep.
I got stuff to put out in the yard too, so he gets excited when he sees the inflatables. He loves Minions, so I get the Minion inflatables and all the deer. So he loves stuff like that. He enjoys it, but it's a lot of work. But you're right; it only comes once a year, and he'll always remember that.
And I can tell you, man, this is it's funny how it's changed over the years to some degree, but some of I have like 2 parts of every year when I was a kid that are just like they have those warm memories attached to them. And Christmas is one of those, There's a lot of memories, man, a lot of memories. And I get excited every Christmas and I get all kinds of silly. And I was listening to Bing Crosby earlier. I just love it. I just love the season. I love being together with the family. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of my thing. Now, if I ever end up actually making more money than I know what to do with, it's going to be a problem because I love giving gifts. Love it.
That ain't a problem, brother.
Man, it is because it's like it is because other people feel the need for reciprocity. So if you give somebody a gift, they feel the need to give you one back, and it's like no. It's not like that. I just really like to give gifts to people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's something that I'm looking forward to as I get squared out here, but yeah, I love the season, man. It's a thing.
Yeah, me too. I'm a December baby. Me and my son both. So we love the season not only because our birthdays are in it, but for the purpose of what it's about. Giving like you were saying, you like giving stuff, and I like helping people out when I can, and just to see that excitement or for them to show that appreciation that makes me feel better about myself, and especially if I'm capable of doing. I helped the family out last year. So that's always good, at least in my opinion. I think it makes me feel good.
Curtis says, since I'm a Christmas guy, I need to move somewhere that has appropriate weather. I agree. I miss the snow during that, or the threat of snow during winter. Now, if I got up around where Jamie and Chico, Jamie and getting up north, there's a good
You'll get it.
snow. Yeah, but down here, heck no. We got snow last year, but it was kind of crazy. Now you're talking about helping people out. I want to bring this up. Uncle Jim, close your ears because I know it's a touchy subject for you. But anyway, guys, if you don't know who Mr. Holster is, head over to his channel, watch some content, and if you feel the need to give or to help, he has a Patreon. Go ahead and sign up if you want to. He's getting close. He's got 8,800. He's trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. He's a hell of a nice guy. He's going through some things right now, and he's being pretty open about it and how it's working for him. Just go ahead and just give him a watch and subscribe if you're interested. You can unplug your ears now, Jim.
I think Fuzz was asking about Willie. Guys, I talk to Willie almost daily, at least probably every other day. And I haven't talked to him today, but I did talk to him yesterday. Me and Willie's become pretty good friends over the months, and my mutt won't shut up. She thinks she runs the house. I'm just thankful she lets me in my bed every now and then. But anyway, Willie's at home. He's doing well, and from what I hear from him, his foot is almost healed up. So we're really excited about that. And he texted me a picture of him with his grandson the other day, and I thought, oh man, we'll never get Willie out of California now. And he said so. But we're already up to 24 viewers, and thanks for everybody coming by tonight. I was kind of concerned about it being a holiday weekend if we'd have many viewers.
Yeah, you never can tell with stuff like that, right? Sometimes it seems like day after a holiday or something like that, you got a lot of people that are just looking for something to kind of take their mind off of it. But Uncle Jim posted a video, I think it was last night. I don't know. Anyway, about the Foxtrot mic 45.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what are you talking about? Like, I've got things I want to do before then, but like I want a pistol. I want an AR pistol, and now like 45, like being able to get that relatively easy in an 8.5. Oh boy, somewhere there's a pocketbook that's screaming.
Yeah, I've not done that yet. If I was going to do a AR pistol, it would have to be a pistol caliber carbine. I mean, a pistol caliber pistol. I can't see having an 8-inch 223 5.56.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't think that would be my inclination either.
What I'd really like to have is what you're talking about, like a 10.5-inch 45 ACP or 40 caliber Smith & Wesson.
Well, what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting something that can be suppressed and I can play with. And I tend to gravitate towards large caliber, and I don't quite, and by large caliber I mean 45s and stuff, and I don't quite know why, man. I just like, that's where my brain always goes. I think I just need to go out and buy every 45 mold I can find because that's what I'm wanting to do. Yeah, I'm wanting that for suppressed and things like that. I just think it's going to be fun, man. Like a nice gun to actually take around the property with you. I mean, take care of snakes or whatever other varmints. Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Jim, I wouldn't be against that. 300 Blackout's good in short barrels. Yeah, I can see that because you've shortened that case down and you're using a pistol powder in it most of the time, like long gun or something, shotgun powder, something like that. Yeah, 300 Blackout in a short barrel would be cool, I think.
Can I touch on something real quick? I don't know if I seen the question that said, somebody said, what's the topic? Did we have a topic?
Your hat.
My hat, right? The Dirty South hat. Yeah. look, this is what I want to ask you guys, because you guys have more. So I was casting, and if y'all see the little residual, this is like from my beeswax, but I noticed casting my my casting started having the fins on it. Are y'all familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Almost like the mold wasn't closing. So I took it apart, cleaned it, and I was just like something. And I cleaned it. I didn't want to clean it too aggressively with a certain type of material. You know what I mean? So what I want to know is, what do you guys? Because I've got it clean, I've got it closed, and I'm still kind of seeing a gap. And I looked on Lee's site. Yeah, I'm still seeing a gap. If I hold it up to the light, I can see.
You're going to see a little bit of a gap, Chico. That's always going to be there. It's for venting purposes, but it shouldn't be thick enough to fin on you. Most of the time, when that's happened to me, it's usually because I've been casting too long and my hand's getting tired.
Okay.
You know, good shit in the mold, but mostly it's because I'm not closing the mold all the way.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Because what I did, I looked up cleaning the mold, right? But every time you look it up, it's always showing the pre-work, like cleaning it before. And I was like, is there no videos that people clean? Now, I know you maintain them and I lube them while I'm casting ever so often, but I didn't know if it was a special way or a particular way that people, clean with.
Yes.
I don't want to say nothing abrasive, because I got a soft, like a sponge type, and I just clean it. And I had like some, if you guys are familiar, gnawing or galling. I know Nathan's probably know what I'm talking about. Almost like what a Baron does.
Yeah.
And I can see it right here, right where this pen goes. And it kind of, but I went on Lee's website, and I believe they said I could send it back to him. All I have to do is pay for the shipping for the first time. But I haven't cast with it yet since I cleaned it, but I do see a gap. But you said that's normal.
Yeah, you're going to see a bit of a gap. Don't worry about that. Just try to cast with it again. And if it still fins on you, and I mean, look, here's the thing: cleaning the mold. One thing you got to get the mold hot, right? Because what you're doing is you're trying to get lead or any crap that's on it off. Get the mold hot, and then what I do is I take a toothbrush, wire brush, and lightly go over it, just to see if I got any lead or anything, and just scrape that off. And don't rub on it. Just use that to flake it off or get it off there. Just get your mold hot enough to where it'll come off.
What about that not triple aught, quad aught steel wool? Is that
I wouldn't do steel wool, because steel wool promotes rubbing, right?
Okay.
It's like it promotes you to actually scrub on it.
Yeah.
Where that toothbrush, you can just kind of flick at it and it keeps you from scrubbing at it. That's all I'm saying. Is just, I mean, don't scrub on it, because those molds aren't the hardest aluminum. You can scratch them and mess them up a little bit. But I mean, some of these molds that I've used, Chico, just, I mean, they look like they look really, really rough. Some of those Lee molds after years of use, and they still work on. So don't be too tentative about it. If you think you got something that you've got a raised spot on that from something, don't worry too much about. If you got to take a pocket knife and just take that little nipple, don't worry about it. Just do it. It ain't screw the mold up too bad. But I mean, if they're going to take it and send it back, that's $8 or whatever it is.
Yeah, the shipping, I figured the shipping wouldn't be that much, but depending on what I paid for the mold was like 45-ish, 30, I don't know, something like that, But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna cast with it a few more times to see how it does, because this is my first time having it off since I put it together, and since I've cast with it, like I've cast with it at least 5 times. But I figured I'd throw that out there and ask, and I'm not even paying attention to the side check, because Mr. Curtis said don't scrub at it. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to use steel wool on it, because steel wool is harder than the aluminum.
Yep.
You'll wind up making your problem worse. And Bullseye Shooting's out there, and he was talking about he can't get into casting economically. It's not making sense to him to pay $2 a pound for lead. Brother, there ain't nobody around here paying no $2 for no lead.
I had to.
The most I've ever paid is Like I went to the scrapyard the other day with a big old bag of aluminum cans, and they paid 50 cents a pound for aluminum cans, and that's pretty good for aluminum cans. And then I wanted to trade it for some lead, and they said $1 a pound, and I wouldn't do it. And the reason I wouldn't is because there's a tire shop here in town where I can go buy a 5-gallon bucket full of wheel weights for $35. Now, most of the time I can get them for like $15 or $20 for a 5-gallon bucket. And a 5-gallon bucket, um, that can be anywhere from 100 to 150 pounds to pick up and put in your truck.
Yep.
And then you sort it out. Even if you've got half lead weights and half the other crap that we get now, and which is about the worst I've ever done on a bucket of wheel weights. Yeah, I mean you're still looking at 60 pounds of lead out of a 5-gallon bucket after you get it smelted down, get the clips off of it, and that other stuff, the steel and the clips, you can take that back to the recycler and get scrap fees for it as well.
Yeah, to give you a little bit back. You know, I'm glad you said that. I went to the scrapyard Wednesday, and it was a scrapyard I never been to, recycling place. I was like, "Do y'all have lead?" You know, just asking them, and the guy was like, "Yeah, we don't have much." What he had over there in that bucket, and I was like, "How much you want for it?" He was like, "Well, put the bucket on the scale." It was like 90 pounds. He said $2 a pound. I was like, "Nah." He said, "What?" Then he asked me, "What do you want to pay for it?" I said, 50 cents a pound. And he was like, "No, I can't do that." And I said, "Okay, they're trying to make money off of it." So he kind of came. He said, $1 a pound." And I started looking in the bucket. It was some plumbing stuff, and I said, all of that's not usable for me. You know what I mean? But he had one big, like a brick. It was like a flat sheet of lead. And I said, "How much is just that?" It was 50 pounds. So he was like $50. And I was kind of like $1 a pound, which I think the further we go along this year and the coming year, those lead prices are going to continue to rise because a lot of people starting to see that people are hunting for that stuff. So I was willing to pay them $1 a pound because this was basically clean lead. It didn't have any clips in it. It didn't have any, stuff in it. But I'm kind of particular. But like what Jamie said, you can find those wheel weights. It's all on how you ask for them. I told the guy, I was like, "Are you familiar with casting sinkers?" He was like, "Yeah, yeah." I never tell him I'm casting bullets because price goes up. At least I think.
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree. I think it does as well.
Unless you find the guy that's a shooter. And I've got a
right.
guy out in West Rome, and he's a gun guy. He likes 40 caliber, and I like 40 caliber. So I'm gonna go out there and work out a deal with him where if he'll save me all his wheel weights, I'll bring him 2 boxes of loaded ammo for a 5-gallon bucket of wheel weights.
That's a deal.
And
That
I
is a
think
deal.
he'll jump all over that, and I'll get to do what I like to do and trade it for more stuff to do what I like to do. So
But here's the thing: we're talking about reloading and saving money. Is that it is relative, right? If you pay $2 a pound for lead and you're casting 124 grain, 9 millimeters, you're coming in about 3.5 or 4 cents a bullet. If you go buy lead bullets, like go to Acme and buy 1,000 bullets, you're going to pay $70, which is about 14 cents a bullet. So it's 10 cents a bullet more.
yeah,
That's money. It's not. I mean, you're saving. You're still at $2 a pound. You're still saving a third of the cost. Now, granted, those Acme bullets are going to be powder coated and all that crap already, and you ain't got to put the time in. But in the end, I mean, look, it's still cheaper to pay $2 a pound because that's what I'll do it if I have to. If I can find somebody who will sell me clip-on wheel weights at $2 a pound, I'll buy them because
Yeah.
I'm in a point where I have to do it.
Yep.
So if I want to continue to shoot, because it's so ridiculous to try to do it any other way for me anyway. And I like casting as well.
And then being that you said at a pound, at $2 a pound, That's 7,000 grains. You might be a reloader, like Jamie said. You
Yeah.
might be a reloader if you say 7,000 grains equal a pound. So if you're casting, let's just say 124 grain bullet, 9mm bullet, because that's normally what I cast.
56.
That's 56 bullets, almost 56 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
At $2 a pound, that's not bad. 56 bullets for $2, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's still like I said, it's 4 cents. It's 3.5 cents a bullet. That's better than you're going to get anywhere else. So but then I mean the cost is really nowhere near as much as just the fun of being involved in it.
All right.
The cost savings is cool, but just being able to think and have a hobby for me is the biggest thing.
And Uncle Jim brings up the best point of all, I believe, is the fact that you can size them and make them the way you want them, and you can cater that bullet to your firearm.
Yeah.
And every
absolutely
firearm
agree.
is different.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Insight, you said you're driving as usual. Stay safe, brother. Good luck on the road. Thanks for coming in. We got quite a few people here. I'm going to do a quick little rundown. Bigger Behind the Trigger is in the chat. Insight Freedom, Curtis Chapin, Uncle Jim, Lever Gun 5110 WCF. Been watching some of your videos, brother. I appreciate it. Armament Axes came in here. Tin Man, good to see you. James Pollard, Bullseye Shooting, Sean Tierney, and Fuzzy Fork 8. Hey, Fuzz, how's it going? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Uncle Jim, James Pollard, and I'm clucking a little bit. I think that's Ocean 374. Ocean, God to see you, brother. So we got quite a few people out there in the ether, and I appreciate everybody showing up. We got kind of a little bit free form tonight. We're not exactly going on any kind of script or talking about anything particular right now. We've already went from single stage presses to cast bullets and the cost for lead. So, and I finally I put up some pictures. I don't think I'm gonna do a video. And I finally finished my die rack, so I got all that organized. I had ever since I started redoing this reloading room, all my dies, or most of my dies, were thrown together in a Tupperware bowl. I was like, I'm not gonna put them back in their boxes and all that stuff because I want to get this die rack done. So the annoyance of having everything in a Tupperware bowl and my Hornady lock and load powder measure inserts, like I don't know which ones go with which dies because they're not labeled, and so I have to redo all that. But I finally got my die rack finished, and so now I got all that organized. It's a nice feeling, man, having this kind of getting this stuff finally squared away. It's only been about a year, you know, but it is nice. I'm hoping to get a couple more die sets. Me and Curtis were talking about that earlier as we were at Palmetto State Armory RCBS sale. Him and I were both going back and forth of what we were buying, and I think I ended up with 4 die sets and a bullet feeding die for 9mm. You know what I didn't get? Dang, nabbit. I just realized something. That bullet feeder is going to be useless until I go get a shell plate for my Hornady. But yes, it is a torture machine for my naughty dies. So anytime that a die does something I don't care for, it goes in the rack.
I want to build me one of those shelves like Uncle Jim was talking about for the classic turrets, lead turrets. I got one right here. That's 38 Special 357 Magnum, and looking at that seating die, I would say that's 357 Magnum set up right now, wouldn't you? That's sticking way up there. And I got this one is a caliber y'all have never heard of, 35 Remington. You've never heard of that. You've not been watching any of my videos. I got another turret set up right here that's got my universal decapping die. And what's that other one? I don't know what that one is. Let me take it out here and see. You got me interested now. Oh, the universal expanding die. That's another thing I commented on somebody's one of our guys' videos the other day. Have y'all noticed that rifle dies, the people that make rifle reloading dies assume that you will never load cast bullets
Yeah.
in your rifle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they never include that die.
Yeah.
Which die is that?
The expanding die, the case expanding die.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I think I've got 1 or 2 die sets, rifle die sets. I think my 30-30 set didn't have an expander. Like it actually uses the depriming pin as an expander, so it doesn't work all that well. But
speaking of which, I've got a brand new pin for 223 Remington.
what kind of die is that?
It's a Lee. This is your neck expanding decapping pin that goes in a Lee full length sizing die.
Yeah, it's just because it's 223 that it was like smooth. I'm like, I'm used to. Yeah.
Hey, I see a question out in a side chat from Thomas Pickering. He says, topic, if you feel like it. He says, tips. What's some tips from you guys on reducing or eliminating the static electricity from your loading bench?
I saw that and I was wanting to get to that. What do you guys do?
Touch it with some metal. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have that problem yet. At least I don't know if I have that problem. Let's say that.
I don't have that problem. During the dead of winter, it'll get a little like that around here because it gets dry, the heat's on. But I don't have that. I just don't have the problem, and I don't have a lot of plastic stuff either. So it kind of, I don't know. I've been lucky. I don't really have the issue. But if I did, I'd use dryer sheets.
Dryer sheets. That's one thing I was gonna say. My Dylan hoppers. When I'm not using them, I put hoppers. Not hopper sheets. I put dryer sheets inside of them because that just reduces it. But again, I don't have a lot of plastic except for my bin. So.
Well, I think what he's talking about, and I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. And this is Thomas we're talking to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Powder measure that I bought on Uncle Jim's Authority, the Lyman Brassmith. This is a plastic hopper. My Lees have plastic hoppers as well, and I own 3 of those. So I deal with static, and what I use is a used dryer sheet. And I find those regular when I get dressed in the morning. They're sticking to the inside of your socks or to the inside of your pants. So I don't like to use the ones that hadn't already been through the dryer because I feel like they're putting something else in the mix. I don't like that. But the used ones still work great to do that. And I don't want my gunpowder to smell like lavender or whatever the scent is. I want it to smell like gunpowder. Am I the only one here, or do y'all just love am I the only one that loves the smell of burnt gunpowder? I always have.
No, I do.
There's some powders I don't care for. That some powders just stink, but most of them, yeah.
And that's what I was getting at, except for Steel Case 223. It smells like somebody said on one of our chats last time. It smells like a kitty cat litter box, and it does. It's got a very strong ammonia smell to it.
Yeah.
And then I loaded some up in 223, and it smelled the same way. And I'm trying to remember. I think it was CFE 223 was the powder I used. But yeah, I love the smell of burnt gunpowder. There's Eagle Eye and Miss Kitty. About time y'all showed up. Thanks for coming.
I had my chat swung up. I didn't see him. Thomas, one of the things I know I'm aware of, I just haven't had any problem with it, is static affecting balance beam scales. I've run into it once where I had something too close to my scale. I had I don't even remember what it was. There was something I had that was too close to my scale that was actually producing like a little static field. I don't know, and it was dicking up my scale. So most of the time now, my scale is pretty well clear of everything else. The way I set my new bench up, it sits off kind of really by itself. I don't even put it next to ammo boxes or anything like that because of it. So that's how I'm dealing with it. Like the stuff on my powder measures, like I said, just a used jar sheet or something. That's not too much of an issue, but I don't want my scales to be messed up. So that's kind of what I did, is kind of keep it off by itself.
Man, I gotta agree with you. Something you said, Nathan, a couple of weeks ago was lever gun 50, 5110, 55 110, whatever that caliber is. Man, he has got some great collectible lever guns.
Yes, he does. JCM says use jar sheets for me too. Unused sheets leave too much residue in the hopper. I don't put the sheets in the hopper or rub it in the hopper. I just go on the outside of it, and that tends to cut the. Because I'm with you on that. I don't want that stuff in my hopper because it's just going to be sticky later on.
If I use the one on the inside of my hopper, it's always a used one. I don't want that stuff inside.
Yeah, there were some good videos that came out this week. Eagle Eye trying to take care of his powder measure. I appreciate that video, man. That was a nice attempt. It's a nice attempt, and we learned something about tannerite.
Yeah, he needs to send me that powder measure so we can blow it up and give a nice Frankfurt Arsenal scale away to somebody.
There's nothing, dude. There is nothing. I think that's not true. There are very few things in this world that can aggravate me more than a tool that doesn't do its job.
Yeah.
Send me into a towering rage. I mean, it's just so annoying when you're trying to do something. Like right now, I got that bullet feeding or the case feeding and the bullet feeder and all that nice stuff for MiG. And I've had a bad shell plate for 45 ACP for my Hornady for 3 years. And I've never replaced it because I don't feel like spending $35 to get another one, or $40 or whatever. It's insane how much a shell plate is. So I've been holding off on it, and it's like every time like that thing holds up or stutters or acts stupid because of that shell plate. I'm like, God, just need to get it fixed. I hate a tool that doesn't work. Yes, James, I caught myself doing that. So thanks, brother. Yeah, you got to get the twist in there. You can't just not. Yeah, yeah. Oh man.
Ethan says it's still going airborne.
Now there's somebody posted in the deals on Slack. Somebody, Mid-South, somebody's got the Lyman powder measure on sale again. It's like $38. So Vanessa, being that they're right down the road from you, I'd look at it too, because Eagle Eye's got one, Jim's got one, Jamie's got one. I know a bunch of people have got them, and I'll be honest, man, if I have to buy another powder measure, that's what I'm going with. I think they work really well. I like the design of them. I'm in.
Cranky says it's Midway.
It is Midway.
Thanks,
3824. Yeah.
Yep. I use Hornady powder measures, and I've had great luck with them. Some of the other guys don't. Some people complain about them. I have really good luck. And I'm not getting down there to say that it never throws a plus or minus. It does, but it's rare. Like I get that thing set up and I get it running, and it's just pretty darn rock solid. So it's one of the best ones I've had. Now I've had Lyman 55s. I'll never have another one of those. I've had a couple different Lee ones. Won't have another one of those. My dad's had a Uniflow RCBS for 100 years, and that thing just does its job. It cuts powder. It's a pain, but it doesn't leak, and it's relatively consistent. I've heard the same thing about Reddings, that they're pretty consistent, good powder measures.
Yeah, I would say so. And like Uncle Jim's test with the Lyman Brass Smith, I've had the same results, and the limited use I've had with it is the really fine powders like Shooter's World heavy pistol that I gave Kyle, tight group, things like that. Man, it's dead nuts accurate. I mean, just it just does not leak and throws nearly a perfect charge every time. But when you get into those stick powders like 4064 and stuff like that, um, what happens, I think, is as the drum, as you're moving it up and back down, some of the little sticks get caught in there, and it kind of forces it to leave it open and allows a little bit more or a little bit less, and to get in there. So, um, yeah, Floyd, I've read good things about those Hornady ones too, but the my Lee Perfect powder measure works really good with those longer stick powders. And it's like you got to have a tool for the job. So with those type doing rifle stuff, I tend to use my Perfect powder measure because it's got that elastic elastomer, as they call it, swipe thing that kind of knocks it down, knocks it in there before it cuts, and that tends to work a whole lot better for me with those kind of powders.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like that breast smith. I think it's like so far it's been one of my favorite all around type powder measures. Now, I mean, like some of the other people tapped in that they have good luck with their Hornadies as well, which is always nice to hear. Buzz, I don't think they take EBT or who's a wick or anything, but ask, man. You can always call up. You always call up Larry and ask for Larry. Be like, hey, look, I need to talk to Larry. Yeah.
Time out. They're changing topics on us. Chico, you bought a bunch of crap Wednesday.
Yeah, I bought some. I got some videos coming up. It wasn't really like a Black Friday sale, but you guys know I seek deals, so I got some videos coming out probably before this, hopefully before Sunday. You guys are definitely gonna enjoy it. I'll tell you, I'm gonna be doing some magic in the video, so y'all will enjoy that. But you know what? I did come up on this same deal. I end up doing some dealing with a guy, and I may be getting a 308 soon because I got a lot of brass that's prime. I got a lot of brass, 308 brass that's prime. And the guy was like, I don't know nothing about it. I was like, give it to me. Give it to me. So I didn't do too much, but you know what? I was looking for Black Friday. Is it just me? But I was like doing my cast and I was like, I gotta have a PID. So I started buying parts to build my own PID. I've been following a lot of those videos with Bacon and Johnny's Reloading Bench did it first, right? If you guys,
JRB,
if you're familiar.
JRB was the one that kind of did it first.
So I ended up buying the controller first, and I felt like if I bought one of the pieces, it was gonna push me toward buying the rest. You know what I mean? So I kind of got that on a little deal yesterday, pre-Black Friday. So, but I didn't buy anything like Uncle Jim. Like I definitely was wanting one of those 9mm lowers, but I still made the night still young. It's still Black Friday, so I still made for the night.
Yeah, the only thing I picked up so far, I was gonna pick up some stuff off Olight, but it got weird and I got confused what was going on. I said I can hold off on that. I got an optic. I don't even know when you pay $40 for something, can you actually call it an optic? I got a scope from Grafts that was on sale for like $40. I'm gonna try on my AR when I get it, and I got a set of knives from my brother. So that's all I've gotten so far.
What about you, Jamie? You get anything special?
I was telling Nathan before we came live, I went to Harbor Freight today and bought some stuff to work on the stock on my Mauser. I got a heat gun for $9 to kind of cook out the Cosmoline. Man, it's amazing. You can turn that thing on, and you have to hold it away from the stock a little bit because you don't want to char your wood up. But man, you can just see it bubbling out of there. And then when it comes out, it's like the wood is like this smooth. It just smooths it out, and I'm gonna do a boiled linseed oil on finish on it. So I'm excited to get it done. I'm pushing forward, probably a little quicker than I should. I've been trying some stuff that I'm really wanting to do a video on it. From what I understand, Curtis is sending me some brass, and James Pollard is sending me some brass. And James and I were talking today, and he informed me, and I'd heard rumors that you can turn 30-06 brass into 8 millimeter brass fairly easy.
And I've got something that's gonna help you with that, I think, Jamie. Well, I'm gonna have to meet with you soon. Sorry, didn't mean to
Yeah,
cut you
I
off.
got something for you too, Chico. Hold on, let me get over here. I'll carry on. I got something for you. Hold on.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of do pre Black Friday shopping. So I don't know if I told you guys, I had bought a Dylan 600 Swager, if you guys are familiar with that. And that thing is expensive. And I found one on eBay, and I ended up paying like $74 shipped, right? And I'm not new to eBay. I do a lot of shopping, read the descriptions. But when it came, it didn't have all the adapters. It didn't have the main ones that I would use, like the 223. It had one for like 308. So I ended up contacting eBay, and I was like, parts are missing. And normally, me and the seller may come to agreement where like he'll pay for, or he'll send me a refund back where I can buy the part. So he was like, just send it back and I'll give you your money back. And I was like, I don't want my money back. I want the dang Swager, but I just wanted it to be, you know, because I can buy a brand new one from Dylan for $124, but I'm a deal seeker, and so I'll probably send the guy stuff back, because if I buy individual parts, I'll be looking at another $50, which is a brand new one. So yeah, that's Swager. Because I deal with a lot of, I have a lot of military brass NATO spec 223 that I bought in deals last year and the year before. So they got that crimp primer pocket. Even some of my 9mm has that crimp primer pocket, and that Swager's supposed to take it out without reaming it out and all of that. So let's see.
I'm digging, Chico. Here we go, buddy. I don't need that. Just for you.
Okay. Yes. And you know what? Being that you brought that up, man, I thought that cleaning that gun, or at least de-rusting that gun, was gonna be like a one-night thing. Nah,
No.
I wanted to take my time with that thing. I was taking my time wiping, hitting it with the wool and wiping, and it's coming out good. But I'm still taking my time with it, because, like I said, one of them is a 1908. 1890, and one of them is a 1925, and I want to baby them and take my time with them, because the longer I have them, the more I'm excited about it. I'm like, man, this is history sitting in there on my workbench, and so I appreciate all you guys' help. I know a lot of people commented. I did not, and I want to apologize, I did not know how to work that live feed that night. It was like, okay, you're finna go live, and I was like, go live. It was like, download this software. I was like, what in the world? So, but yeah, I had got a lot of comments on that live feed about that, people saying, do what Uncle Jim said, and I was like, I appreciate it, Uncle Jim, if he's still out there. But yeah, I want to baby those things. I'll probably take them to shoot. I got 22 short, but I don't have any 22 long, and that's what I was looking for Black Friday. I seen one retailer that had it, but they sold out quick, so I can find it locally though.
Now, you're talking about taking your time, and Jamie said that he was rushing and doing linseed oil at the same time. That doesn't work, brother. You can't do those two things together. That's just not a happening thing, especially when it's cold.
Yeah, when it's cold like this, I'll keep this heater on in this room, and I'll hang it up. And once I put the first coat on, it's going to take 7 to 10 days for it to be ready to put the next coat on.
And it will stink up your entire house if you try to hold it inside. I couldn't do it. I had to leave mine outside.
Hey, look, I'll be right back.
The last one I did, I think the last one I did was a Mauser. Was my 308 set me, is what it was. and man, it's a. I mean, I don't mind the smell, but it'll give me a headache if it's in the house when it's trying to gas out and trying to do its thing. It takes forever. Tim,
510, man.
thanks for coming out, brother. I appreciate it. Signal Soldier 31, glad to see you out there in the chat, man. We haven't talked to you in a while. And just so happens we were talking a little bit about Lyman. So we were glad to have you on that time with the Lyman All-American 8. I watched somebody else do a review of that press the other day, and it was so interesting because I think they liked the press, but most of the entire review was negative. And I'm just like, I don't know if that came across how they meant that. I mean, they were really agitated about the primer system. I'm like, listen, every press I own, the primer system's a futzed up thing except for my progressive. Like, I mean, it's just, to me, it just is. Like, if I'm buying a turret press, I'm not worried so much about the priming, but that's just because I've never had good luck with it. The old Lyman system, is messed up and weird as it is, it seemed to work all right. The Lee system, the new ones, I don't care for. So, I don't know. It was just an interesting review. I think the guy was really, actually, I think he liked the press, but I just think he was really hung up on that priming system. And one thing he did say, he wished there was more handle holes, and I agree. I think there really should have been a third one at least. But
Right, I agree from what I've seen of it. But
yeah.
I really like that press. I really want either that or a T7. That's a RC. No, that's a Reading T7.
Yeah, right. Yeah, now that's I mean, look, if I had my choices, my druthers, let's say that all things being equal, I'd get the Reading. And mainly because of primer disposal is better with the Reading. Lyman relies on little plastic cups they have as long as I could go back, and I reload in the house, so I just don't like having primers all over the place. So that's probably the way I go. But I like my little Lyman T-Mag. That thing works like a champ. And JCM, if you're out there, brother, I appreciate it. Now that I got my dies situated, I got to figure out what's going to be loaded on my second head for my T-Mag.
I was wanting to go into this Edge Red a little bit with Chico. There he is back.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I can share the recipe with this with you, but this is a quart. I mixed up. What I did was when you buy the ingredients, they're all cheaper by the gallon except for the transmission fluid. And then Kyle told me the other day that he could buy transmission fluid by the gallon, but it's like when you buy it's mineral spirits, kerosene, and you have to buy kerosene by the gallon. Acetone and transmission fluid in equal parts. Dextron 2 works the best. It seems to mix and stay mixed in there better. And when you get this and you start using it, I'm gonna give you this little bottle too. Keep it away from Carter because he'll think it's fruit punch and try to drink it, and that ain't gonna work real well.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he
always
knows
use
better
a
not to touch
smaller
my
bottle
stuff.
like this because I don't like
Contaminated.
dipping stuff in the big container. I don't like contaminating all of it, and that's from watching a Fortune Cookie 45 LC video long years ago. And if you've got one of these, which I'm assuming that you do, if you don't, you need one. If you have any bolt action rifles, it works pretty good with my 223 too. It's just it's a brush guide to keep you from messing up your chamber, hitting it with hitting your grooves and lands with the with the
brush.
Well, not the brush, but
the rod.
The rod, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have one. I don't have any bolt actions, but I will get one because I still think I need one regardless. What brand is that? What brand is that? A Lyman?
This is a Lyman, and of course this is like the 45 ACP one, I think, and it comes with 3 of these, and you put on the one that fits. And then you have this slot back here, if you can see this slot. So once you get it all set up in your rifle, you need something to be able to drop some edge red on your brush or on your patch on your jag. And what you need is one of these that I've got for you too, an eyedropper bottle.
Okay, cool.
So I got you fixed up, brother. I just gotta meet up with you. Maybe we can go to meet at the range tomorrow or something.
Okay, yeah, we'll work that out. You know what? I mean, I was asking you about your Mauser, and you told me I was just looking at the message. You said it's a 762, right? By 97, is that right? 792.
No, it's 7.92 by 57. And
right.
The distinction is, and this is what I'm finding out just since I've won this thing, is there was a earlier chambering of the 8mm that was not as big. It was more like a 7.75 or something like that. And I think they called it an 8mm Mauser J or an 8mm Mauser S or something like that.
Yes.
But the one with the bigger bore, which is .323, is JS.
There you
go. So there was a smaller bore in the first ones that came out, the K98s. But this one, and I've slugged the bore already, and I have and here's the lead that I used. Can you see that? You can't. Anyway, it mics out at a perfect 3.23, so that's really cool. So I got to get me some. I've got one mold that Eagle Eye sent me. Thanks, Kenny. And it's a gas check, and I got to get some. Charlie Brastuffer offered me some 32 caliber gas checks, but I'll probably buy some. I appreciate him sending me some if he wants to. That'd be great. But yeah, the bore on that thing is, and I understand that perfect size could be anywhere up and down that barrel. It could have some throat wear, and it could have some chamber wear. It could have some muzzle wear, but I don't think so. It just seems it's a really good looking bore on that rifle. So I'm really proud of it. And thanks for Mr. Taco.
Yeah, that reason why I was asking you that, Jamie, because when I was looking it up for your rifle, I know I came across like a 8x51 R Mauser and an 8x51 millimeter Mauser and a 8x57 Mauser, and that's why I was like, what is that? Like, I don't know nothing about that. So that's why I was, what you said yours is 7.92 by 57. Is yours in that category? I even see an 8x60 Mauser.
Yeah, it's an 8x57.
8x57.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to research. I'm gonna show you what I got you, Jamie, because I figured that brass is either expensive or hard to come by, or both. 8x57. So look, I'm gonna show y'all so I don't keep anybody in suspense. This is like a manual cartridge conversion. I don't know if you guys are familiar. And when I seen this, I thought about Jamie, because what this book is taking, I guess, ordinary cartridges and making rare cartridges, the brass. So it gives the dimensions. Like for that 8x57, it says use a, what does it say use?
270, 30-06.
30-06.
Yeah.
And then you just, so I don't know if that'll help, Jamie, but I'm gonna give you that. And hopefully,
Man, that's just what we were talking about on Slack today.
Yep.
Is how much do I need to trim that down before I run it through a full full-length sizing die. You the man, Chico. You read minds, brother.
Yeah, this is
Or did you hack my Slack account and read mine and James's?
I didn't do that. But yeah, so I seen this and I was like, because I was thinking there's no reason I won't need this because my 9mm I pick it up from the range, and 45 is plentiful. So, but it says make from a 30-06 or factory. But it's got some other. This book has a lot. Just going through it, they had a lot of interesting stuff. People making weird cartridges. So I'm gonna get you that. And let me see. For anybody who doesn't know what Jamie has that is red for, if y'all didn't see my live feed, this is what it is. This is a rifle that's been in my family for quite some while, and it is a 1890 Winchester. I actually have two of them, and this is the one that's a 1908 model, and it works pretty good. It didn't have a lot of the. It's just old pump action 22. This one is the 22 long. But I'm excited to have them. I may have to give them back to my uncle, but he wants me to clean them up to make sure they function or what have you. So if you guys haven't seen that, y'all can check that out. And I'm taking pictures along the way because you can see the rust before and just I don't want to restore it. A lot of people said don't restore it. I said no, I want them to function because he had them in a bad place in a very humid area, and they was like, "Ugh." When I seen them, I was like, "Ooh, that's bad. That is bad." So, but I'll get back to the side chat. Sorry if I've been neglecting you guys and girls. Hey, Vanessa, Kitty.
Yeah, it's been happening over there in the side chat. It's been some interesting stuff. Yeah, interesting stuff going on over there for sure.
Yeah, Eagle says I'm gonna need a neck turner, and I figure that's highly possible. And if I need one, I need one because I also have a 270 bolt action and a 30-06. So I have this 30-06 brass, and James said he's going to send me some more. So
yeah, I don't think I've got. I don't think any of mine have been neck turned. It just depends. I mean, there's a lot of 8x57 brass too. It's not like it's hard to find. I mean, it's just you're not going to find it laying around out, at the range like you do 30-06 or 270. Yeah,
and that's where a lot of mine. All right, that brings up a question. When you guys go to the range and you pick up brass, do you just throw all that brass into one big container and do it all up? Or personally, what I do is I keep the stuff that is factory first shot, in other words, once fired factory brass that's out of my rifle. I keep all of that separate from the range pickup stuff.
Anything I shoot that I can keep my hands on, meaning rifle or revolver, goes right back in the box it came out of. But auto stuff gets spit out all over the place, so it gets picked up with everything else. And I pick everything up and put everything in a bag, and then I sort after that. So it's kind of a process, and I really need to get those sorting trays if I'm going to do this with any kind of regularity, because that's what slows me down. It'll take me 2 hours to sort brass. Pain. Hey, Coach Brothers, how you doing today? I appreciate you coming out. Yeah, I've got an 8x57, a 7mm, a 308. I think that's it for my Mausers.
Well, I own two of those.
Yeah.
I've got the Hugo M2447, and now I've got the M48, and I also have the finished Mosin. Those are the three milsurps that I own, and I like them all. What's not to like, right? I mean, I can't believe we've already been doing this an hour and we've not ran up on Kyle yet. So,
yeah, you never know. He might have got busy with family or something.
Well, seems like he was talking about his dad's truck. The water pump went out. It's a Cummins diesel, but I thought he had it fixed. So I don't know. I'm concerned. We'll have to check up on him. So
I wanted to. This thing's actually got some dust on it. Break this thing out. Here's my 8x57, and I'm fortunate in that this thing is gorgeous. It's really, really, really a pretty gun, and it's a Spanish, so it's not like it's anything super special. But the finishing on it is really, really nice. The wood is just amazing. It won't shoot to save its life, but it is a pretty gun. I hate to do it, but eventually I'm going to end up having to drill it and recrown it because the muzzle's just shot out of it. But other than that, this is probably the prettiest milsurp I own. Just unfortunately, I can't shoot it to save my life. My set me's pretty as well, but it's different, because it's not nearly that dark a wood or anything. It's kind of it's a little bit lighter of a finish and looks a little bit. It's just a weird gun. It's just a strange gun. I don't know if you've seen any of those before, but yeah, it's just an oddball. When you see a Mauser with a flash hider and all this other crap on it, people are like, "What the heck is that?" Like, well,
what did you do to that thing? Yeah. Curtis is asking if you're going to carve your fiance's name in it.
No, sir, I'm not, because my fiance is a better shooter than this gun. Yeah, I don't know, man. He says coach is saying that the range pickup's iffy. I haven't had any trouble with range pickup because anybody that leaves their range stuff usually leaves special rifle. It's all first shot. It's always it's usually. I don't know any reloaders that leave their rifle brass laying around.
No.
So I've always had pretty good luck with it, but I don't know, man. I'm not getting down with crazy like target shooting either with my rifles. I'm not trying to shoot out to 1,000 yards and stuff. If I'm shooting long distance, I'm going to be much more particular with what I'm shooting. I know with like 308 and 30-06 and stuff, I'll load up range stuff I find, not scrap, but without thinking too much about it.
Oh, you better straighten up, Nathan. Miss Capgun's in the side chat.
Yeah.
Apparently, she don't want her name carved in that pretty rifle.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't. She's she knows that that sometimes I got a lot of my milsurp stuff I got from my dad. He's big into it. Like I think at one time he had something like I don't know, close to 70 milsurps. Chico's talking about like it being confusing. I grew up in that confusion. Like you'd have 5 rifles lined up on the wall, all of them exactly the same, all of them different calibers. And you're like, how?
I noticed that, man. When I was looking in this book asking Jamie, I texted him, I said, what caliber is your rifle? When I looked in the index, looking up Mauser, it was like Spanish. It was like the different variations. I was like, what? I didn't want to tell him what I was looking for, but I was like, what caliber is your Mauser? So I was like, let me see if this information is in his book, but yeah, I was like, dang, it's so much stuff. I don't have a lot of I don't want to say interest. I don't have a lot of experience in those older milsurp rifles, but I've heard about them and watched videos on them. So eventually I'll probably get me some because I definitely like the history if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I like when I got these rifles from my uncle, I was just like, and when I found out the year of manufacture, I was like, these things are older than me. Like one of them's older than my granddad. He was born 1911. So I was just, that's my weird. That's how I work sometimes. It's weird. So forgive me, guys.
That's not weird, man. I'm into the history as well, and that's one of the things. See, it's somebody actually. I don't know if you guys remember this. A while back, I did a video, kind of being a little harsh on CMP. And somebody did a comment on this the other day. And it's interesting because that video does get some traffic, talking about how these guns are going to be worth more than that and all this. And I'm like, that's fine. I agree with you. But I think you're missing the point. The government should not be selling these as collector's items. There are guns intended to be giving back for civilian marksmanship. It has nothing to do with selling you a damn collector's item. And that's one of the things that burns my butt about the way that some of these milsurps are handled is that people get so high and mighty about the collector's value when it's like owning the history is what's important, or that it's not. I'm not trying to do this for resale purposes.
Right.
Stop. I know of people that have walls of M1s, all in these different variants, and they're collectors, and they're cool people. I like collectors. But they drive the price up so high on stuff that it shouldn't be high. Like an M1 that's been, redone 3 or 4 different times, an M1 Garand that's been redone 4 times, has no intrinsic collector value, but people will try to sell it for way over what it's worth because they see other ones that are going for $3,000. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You're striking a nerve, and I want to address that comment. But first, I got to pay attention to Fuzz out here saying that no one speaks of the Nagant anymore. I own a Finnish M39 Mosin Nagant, which is not a Mosin Nagant anymore. It's a Finnish military surplus rifle because the only thing that's still Russian on it is the hex receiver. But I really like that gun. It's got a Seco barrel on it. But right now, Fuzz, if you'll go to classicfirearms.com, they've got and I have the email that's got a $20 off code. You can buy a Mosin Nagant with the bayonet, with the dog collar sling, and with all the accessories for $279. And it hadn't been that long ago to those things were going for like $100 or less.
Yep.
And so back to Buzz, if you want that email with that link in it, if you'll hit me up on Slack, I'll forward it to you. I need your email address to do that. But I went with my buddy Frog to the civilian marksmanship program over in Anniston, Alabama, about a month ago. He's always been a diesel mechanic kind of guy. He sells truck parts, big truck parts, over the road truck parts, and he used to work for International Harvester when he was turning wrenches back up in Illinois. He's from Illinois originally, and we went over there, and he wanted a International Harvester made M1 Garand, $1,085.
That's not terrible. It ain't great, but it ain't the worst I've heard.
It ain't great.
I mean, they're charging almost what they're charging something like that for those damn 1911s. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about, and we've already paid for them suckers once.
I know.
I mean,
you talking about those Mosins? I remember when I was stationed out at Pope, which is right there on Fort Bragg. It's inside of Fort Bragg. The gun shop right out the back gate for me. I'd go in there, and there would always be a crate of musty nuggets I'd have to step over to get into the shop. And people were kicking them and knocking them over. Shit, nobody cared. I mean, they were like $80 guns, and no offense to people who love them, they were ugly as sin. I mean, and no one cared. And now, like Jamie's saying, I mean, they're asking like $300 for them. Some of them are really cool, and I know there's a lot of variants. There was a guy I used to work with, really cool dude, really kind of an oddball kind of guy. I like people like that. And I think he had 40 or 50 different Mosin Nagants. I'm like, okay. It's just like, it's such an odd thing for me to like collect like that specific, but there's a lot of people that love him. It's just, I don't understand the prices of it. we were getting those Steyrs for like $95, and they're up around 250. And it's like, come on now, like, I'm with you, man. I think some of the prices have been drove up too high because of how much prices have gone up with other stuff. You know.
Well, Warsaw Patriot. Hey, Warsaw. Some are asking $400 to $500 now. There are specific. What's the word? Variants, particularly the snipers and the carbines, that are bringing that kind of money on a regular basis. But this is a 9130. This is the long Mosin. It's the one they made the most of, and gotta say, hey, Willie Bullet Man, thanks for coming in, man. Glad to see you out here, brother. We love you, man. But I've never saw a Polish Mosin Warsaw. And Bigger Behind the Trigger's been, hey, man, we've been on over an hour. Run through the chat again, Mr. Nathan.
Absolutely, sir. We got a Warsaw Patriot coming in. Willie Bullet Man. Willie is glad to see you, man. I'm looking forward to talking to him more. JCM45. Bigger Behind the Trigger. Chico. Hey, Chico. How's it going?
Hey.
Uncle Jim. Signal Soldier 31. Eagle Eye Shooting. Appreciate you coming out. Curtis Chapin. Yeah, Fort Bragg, man. I spent about 3 years there and hated almost every minute of it. Except for there was a lot of good gun shops out there. A lot of good gun shops. I know this is a sidetrack, but talking about good gun shops, there was a gun shop right outside of Fort Bragg. I should have bought this. They had a rack of Schmidt Rubens for like $150 a piece, and some of them were just flipping beautiful. And I'm like, I don't have the dies for it, and I just never got one. So I ended up having to get mine from my dad because I was just a bonehead. But there were some real good gun shops out there. James Pollard out in the chat, Tread, Sean Tierney, Thomas Pickering, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Fuzz the Fork 8, of course. Vanessa Kitty talking about the black leather and the white hair. That'd be interesting. Armament Axes. Appreciate it. Armament Axes brought up there's, I guess, some kind of deal going on with Sticker Company. I might have to talk to him about that. Guys, I appreciate everybody coming out. We got 30. We've had a little bit more than that at times. I appreciate everybody coming out. I know it's the day after Thanksgiving. It's really nice to see everybody coming out and to talk to you guys. Seeing Willie is always good. I'm glad to see you're kind of bouncing back, brother. Hopefully you're feeling pretty good and you had a good Thanksgiving. I did see your video, your Happy Thanksgiving video. I felt guilty after I saw yours. I was like, damn it, I should have done that. But Ocean 374, thanks for coming. Oh, speaking of Ocean, did you see that video there, Chico? You said you don't have a bolt action rifle.
I don't.
It seems as though Ocean and I think Eagle Eye got one. They're giving away compasses. I mean, it's like $200, some shit like that. I mean, it's a honey of a deal. Go check out Slack. I mean, it is.
They're giving them away. Here you go.
I mean, for $200, I think that's what it was. It was $200. Yeah, it was. I think it was like $200, and there was a possibility of like some kind of coupon involved in that too to knock it down even further. It was insane. Like,
I like bolt actions, and I've shot in plenty of them. I've rented them when I go to the range. If it shoots let's just say my 223 5.56. If I was like, hey, let me try that out. But I've shot in plenty of them, and I probably should have bought that for my son before I bought his 1022. Because when we go to the range, he like pop, 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 pop. I was like, no, got to get a bolt action so he can, you know. But it's something about the bolt action I like, but it's weird that I don't own one. So I'll definitely be checking that out.
Eagle Eye says Ruger American, $199. Now remember, a Ruger American is the one that Josh ended up taking out to 1,000 yards.
Yes.
So it is a capable gun. Ruger American, $199 for 308. Look, I know, right? Like, I'm really.
I got a whole bunch 308 brass.
I'm telling you, man. Like, I have a trip coming up for work 2 weeks, and that trip is taken up, and I wasn't necessarily expecting this or planning for it. I kind of was, but kind of wasn't. and that trip's taking up like well over $1,000 of what was going to be Christmas money. And I'm like, oh, dude, like $200 rifle, I could have bought that bitch. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, sometimes when you see those deals, and this is one thing that if a lot of guys follow me, they know I'm a deal seeker. So if I happen to see a deal, it's like, can I sacrifice? You know, I know Black Friday's coming up, but I just happen to see some deals, so I had to jump on it. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out because Ozark Spirit told me about that Ruger American. I believe he was telling me about the 300 Blackout.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, I like Rugers. They're definitely awesome, capable guns, in my opinion. So I'll definitely be checking that out.
Hey, there's a couple things I like about Ruger. One, Ruger makes some nice firearms. I have a couple of them, and I just love them to death. And two, and I know this sounds weird, but the fact that it is still Ruger, it's not part of some group. Like you can go on the New York Stock Exchange and buy Ruger stock. It's not some other, giant conglomerate. I mean, even Smith & Wesson is a conglomerate. Not Ruger. It's just Ruger. I'm like, I kind of like that for whatever reason. It shouldn't matter, but it does.
Well, Thompson Centers are Smith & Wessons.
Yeah, it's all part of that same, is it Vista Outdoors or something? I don't know.
It is Vista Outdoors. That they sell a lot of stuff. And when I say brass, like I mean brass.
Good. Giggly wiggly.
Prime brass. I was like, I'll take that. Take it off your hands. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Give it to me. Already primed too. So I was like, this is a big old box. So it almost weighs more than me. You guys know I don't weigh much, but So I was like, hey, I'm maybe get me a 308 very soon.
Well, the Thompson Center Compass is a very nice choice, but I would go with the Ruger American Predator with the thicker barrel and it's threaded, so you can put a suppressor on it or a muzzle brake, flash hider, whatever you want to do.
And after watching Johnny's Reloading Bench, his video about the muzzle devices, I would not buy a long range gun that I can't put a flash suppressor or muzzle device of some kind on it. The changes that he was having with accuracy, being able to fine tune the gun that way, were flipping amazing to me.
Yeah, that whole barrel harmonic series.
Well, I mean, to me, it goes even beyond. Like, I mean, we know to some degree about barrel harmonics, but to basically be able to get your standard deviation down, like that's what was killing me. Is he'd have a round that shot all right, good enough. So I mean, he's getting close to where consistency with the load, and he'd put that daggum flash hider on that thing, and it would drop down a half an inch. And it's like, golly, like that's huge difference.
Well, Tin Man's telling me that TCs are threaded too, but my point was the heavier barrel on the Predator of the Ruger American. Now, if you really want to spend some money and you really want a fine rifle, get you a Ruger M77.
Yeah.
I have an older one of those, and buddy, let me tell you something. Or if you really want to spend some money and you really want a nice rifle, get you a Seiko. If you can find one. Those are Titkas now, but they're not quite the same, but they're close. And Tin Man, I thought you were gone. Glad you're back. He said he was going to spend time with his wife. Maybe his wife sent him back to his. Like my wife sends me when I'm in trouble. My wife sends me to my reloading room, and she makes me bring the dogs with me. So,
yeah, Bigger Behind Trigger says he's a big fan of figuring out barrel harmonics. So am I, but I just didn't. I had no idea. I know how to build a load and use barrel harmonics to my advantage, right? And use different types of loading development methodologies to follow my barrel harmonics and get it consistent. But the fact that that could be dramatically changed without any kind of reason, like weight didn't seem to matter, where it was at didn't seem to matter. It just seemed to be completely random by muzzle brakes and muzzle devices just amazed me, man. I'm just like, holy crap, what an oddball difference that makes. It's a heck of a series. If you haven't looked at it, I really recommend it. And go through the Reloaders Network to find it. I think it's on there. That way you're hitting two birds with one stone. I want to plug that. Yeah, the Reloaders Network has a Black Friday section. You can go check out the vendors, and some of it's affiliates, some of it I don't think is. I think most of them are affiliates, which means that you're helping back to the website whenever you shop using that link. But go ahead and give a look there if you're looking, because some of the Black Friday stuff is all kind of centralized right there. And if you want more deals, get on to Slack and go check the deal alerts, because that's every time I find one, I'm putting it on there, and some for some of the other guys. So there's plenty of information out there. Well, that's the M77. I agree with Jamie and everybody else. My dad has one. They're really, really nice rifles for sure.
And they've been around 50 years. There's an article in this month's the December issue of American Rifleman that just came out talking a little bit about the history of the M77. Mine was made in 1988, and the blue still looks like you can stick your finger down in it, like it's still just wet. And I mean, that rifle is nuts, man. I mean, it is beautiful, and it just shoots good. I mean, it kicks like a mule, but what 30-06 does. And but the nicest rifle I have is Seiko AV, and I think it was made about 1988 too. Now it's chambered in 270 Winchester, and I thought, well, the 270 won't kick as hard as 30-06. Wrong, it does. But that Seiko, man, a week ago Wednesday, I hit a buck right where I was aiming from 150 yards. That buck took 5 steps straight toward me and dropped dead in the hammer. And I mean, that rifle, that's the trigger on that I won't say what I'm thinking, but the trigger is just, it's what dreams are made of, man. I mean, it's like 2 3/4 pounds and perfect break, no creep. I mean, just, I love that rifle. I bought it from a friend that was needing some money. I paid $500 for that rifle. And it's nothing fancy. It's got the old, synthetic stock, black stock, and it's scratched all the pieces from where it's been hunted with for years. And it's got some, the blues wore off of the barrel end of the muzzle from going in and out of a rifle case. But man, I really like that rifle. That is the one rifle. Well, both of those rifles I would probably never get rid of. I'm gonna have my kids bury me with those two. Not really, but
Thomas Pickering brought up Preacher's Day Off. It's out in the chat. I appreciate you coming by, brother. Brought up the your recent video. I talked to Jamie about it before the chat. I had a mental image when you talked about your dad's house having like a lot of taxidermy. I had an image in my head of what I thought that was going to look like. I wasn't even close. Like, not even close at all. Like, that's amazing. Like, it is amazing. If you guys haven't checked out that video, go check out Preacher's Day Off and check out the video he just posted. It is amazing. Like, I've never seen that kind of collection ever. Really cool video. Oh, had to eat supper with the fam, he says. I understand. Yep.
So, from what I can gather from my quick glances here, Curtis has several M77s, and JCM 45 has one chambered in 270 Winchester. I'm really liking that 270 Winchester round. I recently bought a set of lead eyes and some Hornady interlock, 150 grain bullets. So I'm gonna be doing a hunting load workup on that, and I bet you either 4895 or 4064 is gonna be the best powder for it. Any of you guys got any experience? I know Curtis does. What's your favorite powder for 270 Winchester?
I got nothing, Jamie. I don't have one. Wouldn't mind having it, but I don't have one.
I was talking to Curtis. I know he was talking about he had the dyes and stuff from the original. He said it was about 1982, I think. Those older Rugers, man. I'm telling you. I mean, those Americans are nice, but they don't hold a candle. Those M77s, in my opinion. But I'm a wood blue kind of guy, blued steel kind of guy. I'm old school, I guess. That's
I like the look of it. Don't get me wrong. I really do. I've wanted to number one most of my life. I don't know. I like it too. In fact, it's funny because I could have been mistaken for a FUD forever because I wasn't interested in AR because there was no furniture. Like I'm used to the wood and the blued steel. I mean, when I bought my Kimber, that was a great example of that. When I bought my Kimber, I got a blued, the only blued one they had. Everything else was two tone or stainless. I'm like, no, I want a blued gun with wood stocks on it. And I've always been that way. But recently I've kind of started opening up to like different things. And I've had a composite stock on my Brit for years, and I've had really good luck with it. So I guess but then again, when I go to build one, my Mauser 257, it's got a wood Boyd stock on it. So I'm with you, Jamie. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of a hard thing to beat, I guess. I think it looks amazing.
Willie said he's sorry he's never had a 270. We're getting JCM 45 says 4831. I have that powder. Willie, don't apologize for that, brother. Curtis uses 4350, IMR 4350.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a long range thing. Yeah, I'm a preacher. I love bolt guns, ARs, not so much. I have a AR that I built, but it's kind of more in the vein of what we're talking about. It's got a 18-inch barrel on it, heavy fluted barrel, and yeah. So there you go.
Warsaw ESA, anybody love M14s? That's my, like right now, I'd say if I had like a kind of a holy grail kind of gun, is a nice M14. I really have always wanted one, and
Yeah,
I always wanted one over an M1. Like, and me and my dad have talked about that before. I have a thing for them. I've always wanted an M14, and someday I'll get one.
Well, before you go spend that kind of money on an M1, now I've always said, particularly recently, my dream gun is a Springfield M1A 308 National Match. But Classic Firearms came out with these, I want to say BM 59s. They're basically Italian made Beretta M14s. They're basically M1 Garands, rebarreled and rechambered for 308 with Sitka, Seiko type, that kind of quality of a barrel. And I saw Iraq Bet 8888 do a range day, and man, from 600 yards, he was shooting 3-inch groups. And it outshot the M1 Garand. It shot out everything I've seen. That is the best shooting rifle I've seen Iraq Bet 8888 do a range day on with any other rifles. I'm telling you, he was hitting 8-inch steel plates at 600 yards with boring regularity, as he puts it. So yeah, I would definitely. Not to mention that they're running at Classic Firearms, they're running about $1,300, which is about $300 or $400 cheaper than I'm gonna get my national match.
Yeah. Bigger Behind the Trigger says he just got into ARs. Me too. Just started. Just finally started. And honestly, I mean, kind of say, but I think Uncle Jim got me into it. Just the amount of fun that it seems like he has with that kind of stuff. I was just like, yeah, well, I'll give it a shot. And now I kind of see the point.
You remember me earlier telling you about me and Frog going over to the civilian marksmanship program?
Yes, sir.
When I first met him, he had like one gun, well, two guns. He had a Ruger P85 was his handgun of choice, 9mm metal gun, and a Ruger #1 chambered in 300 Win Mag. And he's still got that rifle. And I've never shot it, and I've never even seen it. But he's getting in. He bought one of those high point carbines in 45 ACP. Now that sucker looks fun. It really does.
Yeah, I agree. And they're going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than trying to build one out of the Foxtrot Mike. But that's probably which way I'm going to end up going. But I've kind of looked at it. I've thought one of those in 10 mil would be fun too. Probably a little bit more expensive, of course. But
now I was curious about the AR pistol in 45. 45 is a slow round, slow velocities. Putting it in that carbine profile, would that give you any increased velocity a little bit?
Well,
Kind of
like if you look at mine, I shoot at a relatively lower pressure type round. I'm still shooting around 900 feet per second, right? With 6 grains of unique with a 200 grain bullet out of a 45 ACP and a 5-inch barrel. You take that barrel out to 8.5 inches, you'll get some increase. It won't be probably a ton.
right. 50 to 100 ish, maybe.
Well, I'm not sure. There's actually a mathematical equation.
It is.
And I don't remember what it is, but I know at that kind of distance, it's not going to be a ton, but it can let you to dick around a little bit more with your loading.
That was my reason asking it. So I was just like,
I mean, and stay within pressures and don't do anything stupid, but you could probably end up getting it moving around a little bit more than that. Now, like I said, doing a powder coated 200 grain bullet, I'm still at 900 feet per second. So if I could get up around 1,000 feet per second ish, that'd be fun,
right,
man.
Yeah,
that's suppressible. That's not, you're not breaking sound barrier stuff, and that would just tear up anything at any kind of moderate range.
Yeah,
like 200 grain bullet running at 1,000 feet per second.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, because I seen that on Uncle Jim's chat when he was talking about they do have the 45, and I was like,
James Pollard's saying 200 feet per second difference, and if so, that's huge, man. If I could run up 1,100 feet per second, I mean, I wouldn't feel too bad about going and busting a hog's butt.
Yeah.
If it got up on me when I was walking through the woods or something, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm pretty sure that would do the job. Whitetail wouldn't have anything to say about that.
Now imagine what a 230 grain would be like running at 1,100 feet per second. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, Sean Tierney says about saying 1 to 200 feet per second, but not much more than that due to lack of case capacity. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, you just kind of run out of that case capacity because you can't slow it down. You can't slow the powder down and get your
right
up. So you do run into that, but still, I'm thinking that's fine. Like I think one of the reasons why I tend to lean more towards the 45 ACP is just because of there's something about the 9 mil and that lack of case capacity and those kinds of pressures. I'm just like, why mess with that if I don't have to?
But you never loaded 9, right?
No, I've never loaded 9.
That's probably why.
But that's why, man. I've never owned one. I've never owned a 9mm. When I was in the service, I had to carry around that big ass Beretta, and it annoyed me. And I didn't like the gun. I mean, I think it's fine for target shooting. It's just a terrible carry gun. It weighs 400 pounds, so it ends up at the thrown down on the floor more than it is up on your shoulders. I don't know. It's just, and I just kind of when I got into 45s, and it's just kind of a thing, man. It never developed. Now I'm kind of more interested in it because I'm wanting to do more on the idea of maybe doing a little bit of competition type work. So the idea of a slick running, 9 mil has its place now for me. A little less recoil, a little bit more, speed. And Catherine wants one, so I've got the dies coming. Eventually,
it's got to be like the Chevrolet of they're everywhere. You're gonna always find brass for it, and you'll find other stuff. But
it is a small block Chevy, no doubt. Yeah, that's a 350. A 9 mil is a 350. No doubt about it.
You're gonna find everything for it,
That's exactly what it is. I mean, but then again, it's hard to say. 45 stuff's everywhere too.
That's true. 45 just. Someone asked me because I've got that mold on the way. I know I text you about that mold. It should be here tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited about. And that's some of my pre Black Friday shopping. I did it earlier this week. So, and that's what was it? It was a 200 grain or 203 grain semi-wide cutter, 45. So I'm curious about that getting here, so I can start casting for that because that's where I'm gonna save majority of my money in casting.
Yeah. Curtis, if you did those videos, I would watch them. But then again, I'd watch all your videos, so I would like that. And Preacher, I agree, man. That thing was a terrible sidebar to have to carry. And you know what? For you, I think you were SP or SF at the time. It seemed like that wasn't as bad, depending on what your job was, because you were mostly stationary. But I was a flight crew guy, and having to climb up and down and going around and doing this, just having that 5 pounds of crap up underneath my arm all the time. It was just so, I'm like, man, why don't we get a better weapon? And I don't know. I know there's a lot of Air Force people felt the same way about it. It's just, the thing is, it is very reliable. It is a cool gun, but it is not meant for what we're doing with it. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know, man. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Some of the guys are saying they like 38 over 9 millimeter. I have 3 38 special / 357 Magnum revolvers. One of them technically belongs to my wife, but she's never shot it. We were talking about rifles earlier. Let me flip back here. I think it was Warsaw Patriot. Oh, Willie had to go. Bye, Willie. Don't eat too much. He said, Warsaw Patriot, if you want a good rifle, get a Macmillan, the rifle Chris Kyle used it in his Navy SEAL service, also known as the American Sniper. So, Warsaw, we're talking about an M77 and a Seiko that brand new today would cost between $800 and $1,200. How much does a Macmillan cost? I don't know. I'm not being smart or anything like that. I really don't know. I'd be interested to know. JCM's got to go as well. But I like 9 millimeter, but I like 38, 357 a lot better.
It's funny. Bigger said that he's getting ready to buy one Beretta 92. And what's funny is now I want one. I just don't have to carry it. And when I first started flying, I got issued a holster, and it was a 38 holster. So I came in right when they phased out the 38 for air crew members, and I had to stick with the 92. Yeah, now I want one because I think they're great for like target shooting and stuff like that. They're great. What I really want, and I don't think she's on here, and usually she doesn't go back and watch these. She's left. I really wanted to get her a 92 compact. Like, really, that's what I wanted to get her. But trying to find one of those things for any kind of reasonable cost is asinine.
Yeah, I seen one in Academy probably a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I know what the 92 feels like. I got a few friends that got them, and they shoot awesome. But like you said, they're heavy. They're heavy-ish. But the 92 compact, I was like, oh, that's my speed right there. But it felt great. It felt just like the 92, but smaller. You know, it still had the same ergonomics on it, but just in a smaller package. Still 9 mil. I think it even still had the same round capacity. It might have been 1 or 2 short.
I think it depends, but yeah, I think it's still 15 plus 1.
Yeah.
Really, I love them 4-inch barrel. They're right around 4-inch barrel. They're great, but usually I can't find them for less than 6 something. And I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
No. So she's probably going to end up probably going to go that CZ route. But
Hey, buddy, going back upstairs.
Dale says he shot expert many times with the 92. Yeah, it's great for that. Absolutely, man.
Sure.
And I probably shot it a heck of a lot more. I think I only qualified with it 3 times because they took the only qualifying yet every like several years, 3 years or something. I don't remember. My memory's junk. But
Phil Rivers jumped in. He said he likes 357, but 9mm is so cheap. Phil, get you a press, brother. Start reloading. You won't have that problem. We'll hook you up, man. I'll send you some bullets.
Cast for that 357 makes a big difference too.
Preacher also said that the Tika T3 is hard to beat. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Tika is what used to be Seiko.
Yeah, I think Tika and Seiko and Beretta even have got some kind of thing worked out. Yeah,
They do. They do. And another thing I wanted to bring up is I'm working on this Mauser. I know we've left that subject, but there's a lot of things about that are you see the influences of Browning a whole lot. And what I mean by that is, the screws with the other set screw, the screw that has the little moon cut in it, and then the set screw that holds that screw in place, the leaf springs. Now, you also got to understand, and y'all got to correct me if I'm wrong, but I have a Browning A5 shotgun. I sent you a text about it the other day. And I've taken it completely apart and cleaned it up and got it running real good, put new springs and stuff like that in it. And it's there's a lot of the same type stuff in those old 1911s, those old Browning designs, that A5 and this Mauser. But you also got to understand that A5 came out in like 1900 and the K98 came out in 1898. So that whole turn of the century, I think it's just the way things were done then more than the Mauser being influenced by Browning or Browning being influenced by Mauser as they were working on these things at the same time. It's what they had to work with. But yeah.
I think there was a lot more of that cross engineering. I mean, now this one is, correct me if I'm wrong. The old wives' tale that I heard is they had to pay royalties to Mauser for the 1903 Springfield.
That is a fact, sir.
So, I mean, when you're talking about people utilizing each other's kind of designs, so to speak, yeah.
Yeah, we blatantly ripped them off. we were beating them in the war and paying them money for the rifles we were using to do it with.
Which is such an oddball thing.
Yeah, it is. And this is kind of stuff I hadn't heard Chico chime in about, but that's the kind of stuff that intrigues me, Chico, is that history of firearms and stuff like that. And I'm glad Phil Rivers popped in with us.
Absolutely, I'm glad for everybody's popped in. I mean, it's been a surprisingly full house tonight, considering day after Thanksgiving. And I do feel bad we haven't had Kyle on tonight. He's I hope everything's okay. I pray everything's going all right for him. And I think, who was it? I think Fuzzy said he qualified expert with a 45. Brother, I mean, my hat's off to you. The stories I heard about those old 45 ACPs the Army and stuff had, those things were so damn loose. I mean, that's impressive. I know when I first qualified on the M16, it was a Vietnam model, and that thing was nothing but problems. I mean, the crap that if it went through a magazine without having some kind of malfunction, it was a surprise. And it's like, hey, you're a basic training, you got somebody yelling at you 24/7 on the back of your head, your rifle's malfunctioned, and you're trying to be accurate. That was a good good experience to try to learn that rifle and get good with it.
Well, Uncle Jim said that we smoked them with the M1 Garand, and and that was World War II. What we were talking about was World War One. But as I'm working on this Mauser, and I went with my buddy Frog to pick up that M1 Garand, you see the contrast in what the two sides were fighting with. You got a 5-shot bolt action going against an 8-shot semi-automatic with probably a more powerful cartridge. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's a mismatch.
I was reading an article on one of my American riflemen's about the BAR, and I didn't know that was an interesting history. It's funny. I'm not much of a war guy. It's not something I don't know a ton of war history. I don't know what generals did what typically. I mean, I got a general idea, but find out about the weapons I always found to be interesting. And most of our troops were issued those French contraptions for automatic rifles, even when the BAR was available. And I was just like, that's crazy. And basically, it rarely seen anything in that war because they couldn't get them in the hands of the troops and get them trained up fast enough. Even though it was a much, much, much better gun. That's just strange. Vanessa asked, what year did you enter basic? I'm not sure who exactly, but if she's talking to me, 97 for me. So 4 years after Preacher's Day Off and 17 years after you did. So so you guys were definitely a little bit before me. Phil Rivers, 87. Yeah.
So Uncle Jim has 1 BAR and 9 M1s.
I don't know. That's
what I was asking.
Woohoo! That's quite a bit.
Yeah. Those M1 Grands are getting pricey, as we've already discussed. And that one you were talking about, the Springfield 1903, you can't even hardly. I mean, they're running $1,000 nearly. It's hard to own U.S. military surplus if you didn't buy them years and years ago.
Well, that's the ticket, man, and that's what. As soon as that crap that which I can't remember the name of that Gun Control Act, the one that followed Kennedy. As soon as that lapsed, you could pick up. I mean, I remember my dad. He got his Winchester M1 carbine at Woolsworth. It wasn't much, like 100 and something, I think. My grandfather picked up an 03 Springfield that was. I mean, it wasn't a rebuilt one. It was stock, and it was brand new, never taken out of the crate. I mean, he got that thing from, I think, Rose's for a couple $100, like $200-300. Back in the 80s, when that stuff became available, it was not that bad. It just went insane. I think I paid $50 for my 303 Brit. Crazy how much those things went up.
Yeah, those are running $600 to $700 now, and they're shot out pieces of crap.
Yeah.
Warsaw sent you a message there. He's talking about they've introduced the BAR, shorten the barrel.
I'll tell you, it is very. I tend to believe that there is a right way to do something, right? And when you hit on the right way to do something, like the 1911, to me, is the right way to do that. The BAR seems to be the right way to do that. A B-52, the right way to do that. There's not a lot of reason to upgrade. It's like, oh, okay, I think this has got that hammered down. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to make that a little bit lighter, but
Nathan, did you say on Slack has a new thread on deals, or was that the Reloaders Network?
That's the Reloaders Network. If you go to the Reloaders Network under merchandise, I think it has Black Friday deals as a new header there.
I was looking on Slack. I was like, I don't see it. Let me ask this question.
Buzz George Washington still owes me for finding him a roll of toilet paper. It's nice, man. Know him. Heck, that fool owes me $1. Yeah. So you were helping him carve his wood teeth and such? Even though I know that's a myth. Still good.
Yeah. Figure behind the trigger back a little while ago said the first gun he did gunsmithing on was a Browning A5 shotgun. Said his daddy bought it at a garage sale for $2.50, thinking that it had a bad barrel, and it turned out to be the bolt lock and cost him $35 from Brownells. If you've got a Browning A5 and you've got $37.50 and some time in it, you got a deal. And
Yeah.
if you learn to do gunsmithing on a A5, you can work on just about anything because those are pretty complex pieces of machinery.
Bigger Behind the Trigger says he thinks the 1911 is the best military handgun ever. I don't know, man. I think it's the best military handgun to date. It's just that whole thing. Military handguns is a weird deal because it seems like when it comes to rifles, it seems like we got a fairly good deal. I've heard a lot of horror stories from the Vietnam era of the old M16s kind of melting down and just not being made out of good quality material. But you look at the handguns the military has used; they have not been, in my opinion, battle weapons. They've been police weapons that have been modified to be battle weapons.
Right.
And there are battle handguns. They're guns that will shoot after going through everything. I know that it's not a popular belief, but man, it's like it'd be hard pressed for me not to want to use a Glock. As a military gun, it's just so damn dependable, and it doesn't weigh a ton. I don't know. So I agree with you. I think 1911 is the best so far, but I think there are so many better options for a battle handgun. It's just a matter of them doing it. I mean, have they actually done anything with SIG? I mean, I heard years ago that SIG had won a contract, but I never actually seen anything actually manifest from that. I have no idea.
45 ACP was awesome. Like Warsaw says, it is awesome, and it is. But it was really awesome in 1917 in those trenches in that war. But one that I'm interested in buying, Classic Firearms has some TT-33 Tokharovs. They shoot a 7.62 by 25. That's very intriguing to me. And of course, the capacity is limited to what we're used to nowadays with 18 rounds of 9mm. But that's near 357 Magnum ballistics on that round.
Yeah, I've seen that round at my local FFL. I was there one day, and a guy bought one from Classic, and I was like, "What is that?" He was like, the price on the gun was low, and I was like, "How much is the ammo?" And when he showed me the round, I think they had one back in their stock somewhere. It looks like a miniature AK round, but it's like you said, was it 7.62 by 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of was like, "Dang, how much would a box of that cost?" But it's a classic.
Yeah, surprisingly not that bad. It's more than 9mm and stuff like that. Seems like a box of 50 was about $20. What y'all didn't see on my Let Freedom Ring is I couldn't do it again, put it on YouTube for obvious reasons. But my buddy Rick had brought his dad's Korean, what is it, a PPS 41 that he captured in Korea, and he brought it home and had, it's got that shroud around the barrel. He had everything nickel plated, and Frog completely redid it for my buddy Rick. And man, that turned out to be a beautiful gun. And we shot it fully automatic that day. And I wanted to put that video up on YouTube, but I knew we'd all go to federal prison for the rest of our lives. But guys, 2 hours has really flown by, and I've talked way too much. But Vanessa said that her military handgun was a Smith & Wesson 629 with an 8 3/4 inch barrel, 44 Magnum. And Eagle Eye said that he wished that they had a 44 Magnum semi-auto. Desert Eagle makes one.
Yeah, can you imagine that? I'm just in my head, and I don't mean to. I know this sounds, but I'm imagining in my head when I was qualifying, the 100-pound girl next to me holding the Desert Eagle. I mean, it's like some shit out of Police Academy. Woo! Flipping back, falling on her back. Bless her heart. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why they supposedly went away from the 45 ACP, was so that it would be more easily handled, which I think is a little bit ridiculous. I think you just need to teach people how to shoot.
Correct. I agree.
Because I know they didn't teach me how to shoot. It took me until I was 34, 35 years old to actually figure out how to pull correctly to keep a gun from snapping and carrying on. I was still in my head cup and saucering. I wasn't cup and saucering. I was still doing this, but I wasn't putting any pressure here. I hadn't really learned how to shoot handguns until I was, I don't know, at least my early 30s. Because they didn't teach you. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's I think the 45 ACP is plenty handleable, or handleable. And I always been a big believer in the 200 grain bullet for that. I think jumping to 230s was a bad idea, a bad way to do it. A 230 round ball is just too heavy, too slow.
Warsaw Patriot, I really like my CZ75 BD. You probably saw it on my video with me, Chico Kyle, and the Scotsman at the range. But I'm really feeling bad. Kyle didn't make it with us tonight, so we're past 10. So if you want to run down the chat and
yeah, absolutely. We can go ahead and close her on down here in a bit. Fuzzy, I appreciate you coming out, man. Just watching some of the banner between you and Vanessa's got me laughing. Warsaw Patriot, glad to see you. I appreciate kind of the input there. It seems like you got a fair amount of specialized knowledge on those topics. Bigger Behind the Trigger, always glad to see you, brother. James Pollard, there's a man with a lot of knowledge. More than I got, for darn sure. Then again, that doesn't take much. Yeah. Yeah, you're saying 200 degrees was what it was designed for. Yeah, that's yeah. Eagle Eye Shooting, I appreciate it, brother. David Bowling, glad to see you. Uncle Jim, always glad to see you, man. We got Vanessa, of course, always here. I always appreciate it. Insight, if you're still listening or if you're almost home or whatever, I hope you had a good drive, safe. I do appreciate everybody coming out, Preacher's Day off. Of course, always nice to have you on board. Alan, I missed you, brother. Alan B. Pro was in the house there for a while. I didn't even see it. Otherwise, I would have said hi.
Sorry. Hey, Alan, I didn't see him.
Alan just put out a video not too long ago, like the other day. I guess he's kind of getting back into making a few more videos. So go check out his channel and see the update and see what he's working on. And who else we got here? Cranky Cletus. I appreciate it. Phil Rivers, of course. Guys, we've had Signal Soldier 31. We've had a lot of people in and out here tonight, and I appreciate everybody coming out and watching. I've got a few things going on. I'm going to do a VR to somebody. Probably 2 VRs. The plan is we're going to go shooting tomorrow, so I might see some 32 mag results, hopefully. So I know Tim. I haven't seen Tim tonight, but he'll be getting a surprise for me finally going out and doing some of the testing with the 32 mag. That's kind of what I'm working on, is still working on the 32 mag, trying to get caught back up. I'm thinking about kind of trying to go back to doing the weekly recaps, just shooting it on Saturday morning. So I would only have – basically I wouldn't be up to date through that weekend. I'd post it Sunday morning, but I would shoot it on Saturday morning, which means it would only be from last Saturday through Friday. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. But I want to get – I know that a lot of people have mentioned that they did like those, and I would like to get it back out. I just can't do it Sunday because it ends up eating up all of Sunday morning, which I wanted to go to church or some other stuff I want to do during that time frame. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys coming out, and we can go around and talk with Chico when he's ready here. Yeah,
I'm ready. Hey, yo, guys, thanks for being here. A lot of different topics. lot of activity in the side chat. I definitely appreciate it. Guys putting out deal alerts and advising me of some stuff. I've been pretty busy, but y'all stay tuned to my channel and my brother's channels. But I got some interesting stuff coming up, hopefully before Sunday. Like I said, I'm going to continue working on these 100-year-old 1890 models, and I'm going to take you guys along the way with my progress as I de-rust the barrels, sort of, or the frame on them. So thanks for being here, and thanks for all you guys just showing up.
Okay, thanks guys. It's been fun tonight. We've had quite a few in the side chat. I'll be working on. I have load 7 of 35 Remington loaded, and have had for probably 3 weeks. I got to get to the range and get y'all the results on that. I'm going to do probably 2 or 3 more powders on that series, and then we're going to be moving into the fine tuning aspect. You'll also see some videos from my Mauser. I'm getting it back together, fixing to do the finish on the wood, and we're going to do some loading for it, some casting and loading. So hopefully that's going to be fun. Y'all can follow along with that, and we'll track Kyle down tomorrow. Me and Chico will meet up at the varsity and go to his house. And y'all send me messages on Slack. Be sure to check out the reloadersnetwork.com. We should be back next Friday night, and we'll be on the Reloading Press channel again, Lord willing. And let's see, what else? That's enough. I've talked too long. Guys, again, Bigger Behind the Trigger said he would like to be on the panel. We'll work that out. If Curtis is still out there, we're planning on having you next week. Then we got in December, we've got Josh lined up from 243 Outdoors. It's just a matter of hooking up with him on a night when he's not working, and we can probably work Bigger Behind the Trigger in after that, or maybe we need to get A&A on here and get with Bigger after that. But we've got plenty of guests lined up to come on. I want to have Tin Man on eventually. I've been watching a lot of his videos. He's a good addition to our little family we got going on here, and he's doing some interesting stuff with powder coats and stuff. Y'all get by his channel and check him out. And yeah, he's still here. No, we've been trying to get Curtis on for a while. We need to get him on next week.
Yes,
so
sir.
That's all for me. Y'all watch our channels and see what we got coming out, and we'll see y'all next Friday night.
All right, everybody. I appreciate you coming out, and have a good night. We'll be on same bad time, same bad channel next week, and we look forward to it. Happy Thanksgiving. Spend some time with your family. Have a good night, and hopefully go out shooting. Bye.